Hey superstars, welcome to the Get Rich Without Being a Bitch podcast, and I am your host Vanessa for this journey. We're going to be challenging some stereotypes, shattering glass ceilings, really looking at what it takes to live richly and to design a business that's going to support the life that you really want to be living. I'm going to be sharing lots of tips, tools, and strategies along the way, and I can't wait for you to join me on this journey. Hey superstars, welcome back to another episode of Get Rich Without Being a Bitch. And this is like your mini training series. If you are a woman-owned law firm, these episodes are for you, and they're still relevant for all business as well. So you don't necessarily need to skip them. I want to get to a very important topic. It's probably one of the core concepts that we have in the Business Growth Academy for law firms. And that is the concept of champagne clients. So important because clients are going to be taking up your time, your team's time. They're the people that bring in money to your firm. They can also bring in a lot of headaches and a lot of stress to your firm as well if you don't get this one thing right. And I know that typically, law firms, especially law firms that might have a very local, they're tapping into their local community. They often think that they need to take everybody that walks through the door. I've heard that from so many women, that they're not selective. They don't know exactly where their next clients are coming from. And so when the next ones walk through the door, there's no selection criteria. It's just, can we help you? Yes or no? And that's pretty much where it stops and starts. Again, that's really good in the early days. We all do that, right? I've often called this we'll take anybody that's got a pulse, anybody that's willing to work with us. We've got to go through that process of working out, how to get clients and get a firm or a business off the ground. But when you're coming into the conversation of scaling and you really want to take your firm to the next level, the types of clients you work with are absolutely critical for many different reasons. Now, one thing that we, of course, see a lot in professional services and particularly with law firms is you have a practice area, right? An area of expertise. Sometimes in the early days of getting a firm off the ground, we've kind of been full service. We've offered multiple different things. Perhaps there's a little bit of business law, there's some estate planning, there might be a bit of IP, the odd DUI. There can be a lot of things, right? The full service law firm. Well, full service law firm can work in the big firms when we have multiple jurisdictions and practice areas and attorneys with different areas of expertise. But honestly, it is not the best model to grow and scale a law firm when you are small. And when we're talking small, I'm typically talking, under 15, right, team members, right? Really small, kind of like we call them micro, right? Micro and small firms. Because it means, for a start, that you have to constantly, if you're not in that work the whole time, you've got a lot of research to do, right? You're jumping around from different things. You don't get any depth necessarily in any area. And then you don't set up the systems either that would support you. So, we're jumping from different things and it can feel like you're constantly reinventing the wheel. And a lot of time, energy, and frankly, money is lost that way as well. So starting to thinking about scaling, you definitely want to think about, your area of expertise. And I look at this through the lens of we're all solving problems in business. Ultimately, that's what it's about. But what are the problems that you love to solve all day long? I love business problems, right? I love people problems. I love mindset problems, right? It's why I'm a business coach, because it's the conversations that I am in frequently with clients. And I'm really happy to do that. And then I'm really happy to build new tools and new systems, to constantly improve, because yes, it's an area of deep expertise, but it's I constantly want to be able to take it to that next level, right? That next level of mastery. And the same is true for you. So we want to think about, what are the conversations we're happy to be in? And this is whether it's you doing the work, later on down the line, you're going to be helping train team members to do the work, right? But it's also then those things that you become known for. It becomes really easy to refer to you. And coming back to that level of expertise as well, there are certain cases or clients that you really wouldn't have been able to handle in the early days. You would have needed to call somebody else in, or perhaps you'd have even referred them out. But just like me, we're practitioners at the end of the day, our practice, because we are practicing the whole time, gets better and better over the years. And it means that we can solve more complex issues, right? We can deal with that complexity. Lots of the things that we couldn't do in those first years of like going into our own practice. And it would make sense that you would want to have more challenges as well, right? You're, again, intellectual. You want to have that, cognitive stimulation. I know I certainly do. Like, I want to make sure that I'm still really thinking through things critically, but I want to be problem solving at a different level. And that comes back to deepening that expertise, but then also now really thinking about who it is that we want to direct that expertise to. So once you start to really land on like a practice area, if you haven't already, the next thing is going to be, okay, and who are your champagne clients? And by the way, when I say champagne clients, this is nothing to do with high net worth, right? For me, champagne is honestly so much about mindset, about attitude, about fit. It's like, who are the people that you are really excited to serve? Or you might feel called to serve, right? Like me, women, right? It's just like a calling. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it all day long, right? That doesn't ever go away. A segment of the population that you feel really called to serve. And again, the market is so big that the reality is the more you kind of niche down and define who your champagne clients are, the easier it is to market. You actually get known for something in your local communities. Other attorneys can refer to you more easily. They're going to have a confidence, right, as well, to refer to you, knowing that you've got that deep expertise. And everything flows from there. It's easier to train team members because you're not all over the place, right? You can set up training systems. You start to command as well. This is really important as well. You will naturally be able to command higher fees because, again, you're known for this one thing. You've got the area of expertise. You've built the systems and the process and everything. And then like the fee conversation becomes easier because it's what you do all day long. Now, conversely, and I get it, right? Just before we even go into conversely, this conversation around champagne clients gets women, I know, excited. They're like, I love the concept. And it always brings up those fears, right? That sneaky mindset that says, well, are there really enough, of these types of clients to go around? Where will I find them is the next big question that comes up, right? They're everywhere. They frankly are everywhere. It's up to you, frankly, first and foremost, to define them and claim them as your ideal clients. And once you start to shift your practice to working more with champagne clients, you really won't want to go back. Again, it's never, ever happened. It's never happened that a woman has come to us and said, oh no, I really liked it when I had a mix of clients before. I still had those pain in the butt clients that were draining energy, nickel and diming us. Oh, I'd love to have more of those, Vanessa. No, they actually become intolerant, right? The standard is raised and they're not going to go back. But let's flip that switch, right? In contrast to beer clients. Because beer clients are those ones that, yes, they question your fees. They will tell you even what they are willing to pay for your services. They typically, this happened to one of our clients, Susie, when she really embraced the champagne client methodology for her firm, and she's really shifted. I would think she's probably about 80%, if not more at this point, like champagne clients. It was like the core thing that she took. But there were days when she would have they were actually engineers in her case, that were walking through the door and telling her exactly what they needed and what they were willing to pay and how much time it was going to take. Like, this is you as a professional, and yet you've got, somebody else telling you what to do. I mean, it's preposterous. And yet we know it happens. And that was where she was like, I'm done with this. Like, I am so done with this. I want clients that respect my expertise, that we get to partner with, but they're not going to tell me my job that I've, dedicated decades of my life to, honing this expertise. And so we started to screen them out. Now, be your clients as well. You will know them because they always, frankly, leave a sour taste in your mouth. You see them on your calendar, your heart sinks, they phone. You don't want to pick up the phone. Your team members, if you've got them, they're probably mentioning them as well. And it's just as important, though, to define who your beer clients are, because that way you can start to put screening systems in place and kind of like the early warning system where you immediately recognize them. Right? Really important. And again, particularly if you're like me or many of my clients, like a bit of a bleeding heart, want to help everybody. And in those moments of weakness, you find yourself saying yes only later to go, why the heck did I do this? Right? So let's just do a quick recap here. Really thinking through the lens of what is your area of expertise that you want to develop and be known for, right? That's kind of like your niche, if you like. But then within inside of that niche, it's still not everybody. Like, let's say estate planning is kind of like where you land as an example, or family law, right? Not everybody that wants a divorce is going to be your client. I think you can agree with that. And there are going to be certain cases that you absolutely wouldn't want to take on. And this is where that champagne client distinction is so important, because it's a differentiator, right? It's about the, how you work with your clients, the clients that you can get the best outcomes for, and frankly, how they need to show up to work with you as well. It's a very important step in the process of creating your firm very intentionally, right? By design and not by default. And it becomes very freeing as well when you're not taking everybody that walks through the door and you're actually starting to say no to clients. Yeah, I get it. That can feel scary and it feels very counterintuitive. But those no's mean that you've now got more space, time, and energy to welcome in the champagne clients. So as always, I hope you've enjoyed this mini training today. Please leave a comment, a review. We love positive reviews. Really helps us to spread the word. And something new that I'm up to as well is if you are looking to learn more about these frameworks, shape your mindset, and frankly, build your own community as well of power partners, referral partners, I am launching something completely brand new, and it's called the Legal Collective. I'm going to make sure we've got it in the show notes below. I am very excited about it. It's completely free. And I was just feeling very called to create community amongst the women that we work with. They say how important it is to be able to have these conversations behind the scenes in a safe place with somebody that's been doing it for a long time. And again, I want you to be able to build your networks and build some amazing power partners and referral partners across the country. And who knows, perhaps it's even across the world for some of you that are doing international business. So again, check out in the show notes below. It's the Legal Collective, and we are kicking off very soon.